I managed to fix my hack of Ironsworn Starforged and Star Trek Adventures Captain's Log. Let's see how I get on. So yeah, I realise I made plenty of mistakes in the last episode with the game in general. I didn't kind of look at it the right way. I think I was trying to do something that it wasn't possible really what I was trying to do. So I kind of looked at it, I've adapted it, and I'm going to go again. I have tested this out a couple of times, made a couple more adjustments. It seems to be quite good now. I say quite good, it seems to be better now. I'm sure it's not the be all and end all. I'm sure there's still issues. I'm sure there's still things that I would like to change and adjust. So first of all, I'll just take you through what I've done. I'm going to rely a lot more heavily. I just want to make sure that you can see what I can see in here. I'm going to rely a little bit more on the Starforged random tables for the world generation. Star Trek Adventures I don't know what it is about the book. It's very difficult. It's very time consuming. It took me about an hour to build one little sector the other day, and I realised afterwards I probably didn't need that entire sector just for my first adventure, but also it was all a little bit, there was a table up here that told you to do this, and then the next step, which you think, oh right, there's the next table. No, that's like 15 pages later, and it was a little bit all over the place. I do still want the Star Trek theme. I will still be using the Star Trek Adventures, the Captain's Log book for a lot of things, but I am going to let Ironsworn Starforged do quite a lot of the heavy lifting now. Now what I've done is, this is the Starforged sheet, as you can see here. So we're Captain Todd Kennedy, and so I'm using this really just for the health, spirit and supply and momentum, and I will be using the tracks and everything on there as well, and I am using some assets from the from the Starforged game. Again, I just want to make sure that you can see what I can see. And so our ship, when you play Starforged, you always get the ship asset. Our ship is HMS Trafalgar, so we're armed, multi-purpose starship. It's suited for interstellar and atmospheric flight. So it's just a basic asset card within Starforged. So we've got a ship to fly, and I can use it obviously in Star Trek. That is our ship. Now I'll get back to the other assets that I've chosen in a minute. Let's have a quick look at our sheet. Just zoom in on that a little bit just so you can see that a bit better. Don't know how well you're going to see it actually. I don't know. Hopefully you can sort of read this, but yeah, Captain Todd Kennedy, he, him, we're human. Our rank is captain. Our assignment, we are a captain. We've been assigned the ship, which I'll get onto in a minute. I rolled for everything here actually, apart from maybe one or two things, but we'll get to them in a second. Our attributes, now what I've decided to do with attributes and disciplines is cut them basically in half, really reduce them, because what I found the last time I tried it is our attributes were just too high. So I was taking into account the Starforged stat array, which would be 3, 2, 1, and I was thinking, so I'll combine 2, so it'd have possibly control and con. If they were both 3, I'd have 6. And I'll be rolling, a D. I know, okay, I was only rolling a D4, but I was still getting high numbers. And going against a D12 as opposed to D10, with 2 D10s, which you're meant to in Starforged, obviously it's a slightly different curve. So what I'm doing now is I've cut them. So the highest we've got is a 2 and the lowest is 0. So the highest we can possibly get is 4. If we're combining, say, control and science, we'll get a 4. And that was, if you play Starforged with the easy stats, 4 is the highest you can get. And our lowest could be 0. So we could potentially be rolling a task which is daring and medicine. Don't know what scenario that might come up, and that'd be a 0. So we'll just be relying on the die there. So that's it's going to be an interesting one. But yeah, I think the last time I did it, I just wasn't getting enough misses. And it's great to get lots of hits, weak hits, strong hits. Of course it is. But where's the story if nothing goes wrong? Where's the story if there's no conflict? If I wasn't getting any misses, nothing goes wrong. Where's the fun in that? Rolled up, so our environment, our upbringing, we lived on a star base, so probably, I don't know, use your imagination, somewhere in the solar system, maybe orbiting Earth or orbiting Mars or another planet in the solar system. We struggled. There was a lot of hardship among our family. Maybe we were poor, I don't know. I also rolled up, our early outlook was sort of business and trade. So maybe I could see from a very young age that my family was struggling. We didn't have a lot of money. So I immediately tried to trade. I tried to get into the trading business and just sort of buy and sell whatever I could, maybe a bit of scavenging, salvaging, I don't know. So yeah, we rolled that. I'm obviously, everything I've rolled, I'm trying to sort of connect in some way if I can. Our education was civilian training. Disappointed with that one. I would like to have got the Starfleet, or is it Starfleet Academy? Yeah, of course it's Starfleet Academy, isn't it? I think, yeah. That's what I would have liked to have got, but I rolled up civilian training, and I rolled up scientific and technical expert, which I know doesn't fit with the business and trade. Maybe as I got older, I just kind of changed what I wanted to do in my life. So got into scientific and technical. Career length, again, I would have liked novice. I would have liked this ship to sort of be my first command. It still can be my first command, but I would have liked novice really, so sort of starting from the beginning. But career length is experienced. Career events, I rolled up required to take command. So somewhere along the line when I was just an ensign or ensign, I think. When I was just an ensign or a lieutenant or whatever, you know, not quite captain yet, somewhere along the line I had to take command of a ship or of a regiment, or something happened where I had to take some sort of command. And maybe that's where I first got noticed by the admiral or the higher ups within Starfleet. And then also I rolled up first contact. So as opposed to what I did before, where we are literally starting fresh, and you know, our first contact would be Earth's first contact, I didn't think that was the way to go, because I think if we're going to play this game, you need to have some kind of, your Starfleet needs to already have established some relationships with other races. Number one, to introduce missions that we can aid. You know, if we go straight into an aid and relief mission, but it's also a first contact mission, I don't think that suits well. I mean, it may do for someone who's vastly more experienced in role-playing games than I am. So I thought, let's already establish that we do know, we have made first contact with several species, or a handful of species. I made contact with one of them. It was me that did it. Focuses, coordinated efforts, I rolled on. Now focuses won't do a lot for me in this game because it's a mechanic in Star Trek Adventures. I might read up on it and see if I can weave it in somehow. But anyway, narratively we can, you know, so coordinated efforts. Maybe the time when I had to take command, I was very much kind of delegate, let people, you know, empower people. You know, this is a coordinated effort, this is a team effort. Can we all get out of this hole here? And then I also rolled up on teaching and archaeology. Archaeology, disappointed at rolling that one, but I've got to go with it. It's what I rolled. I'm not quite sure how I could have connected that with anything else that I've got, but that's what I got. Values. Okay, I rolled up willing to sacrifice myself to save my crew. I think that's a very leadership thing to do. We'll see if that ever comes into play. And also push me too far, and you'll see my ugly side. I think that's quite me actually. I think I'm quite easygoing, but if my buttons are pressed in a way I don't like, or if they're pressed too much, yeah, my ugly side can come out a little bit. And this last one, actually, I always write this in whenever I try to do a Star Trek Adventures game, or actually any kind of role-playing game, to be honest. Give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. Now, I'm sure you've all heard that quote before, but in case you haven't, it basically means if someone needs something, someone wants something, you can tell them how to do it. No, sorry, you can do it for them, but they're never going to learn that way. If you show them how to do it, teach them how to do it, then they will be able to do it on their own. They won't have to keep coming to ask you. So it's basically, that links up very well with this teaching focus that I rolled up. And I also rolled up, now this was an aspiration, and again with Star Trek Adventures Captain's Log, there wasn't a space to put your aspirations. So I just put it in equipment or other details, and I rolled up early life aspiration was to prosper and be successful. And that does kind of link up well in a way with, you know, when I was younger, I could see that my family was struggling, we were poor, you know, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So I want to succeed in life. You know, I want to look after my family, I want to earn money. Okay, that's where we got. Just make sure you can see all of that. Our starship, we are commanding the HMS Trafalgar. NCC 17495, that doesn't really mean anything, does it? But that's I think I used a generator online to get that. The traits are, it's a pioneer ship, so although we have met other races, this is the first time we've been let out on our own. This is the first time we've been, you know, actually going beyond the stars ourselves to see what's out there. So we are pioneers. Talents, I rolled up advanced shields, and when I rolled up advanced shields, I decided to take the shields asset from Ironsworn Starforged. I'll get to that in a minute. I thought it obviously worked pretty well with rolling up advanced shields. I rolled up independent phaser supply. Again, it probably won't help us mechanically, but we can put it in narratively. I might maybe use it as an advantage if we're ever in a situation where, because what I can think is there, if power's ever down, the ship loses power, we can still use phasers. It's on an independent circuit or whatever. So I might say, yeah, power, we've lost power in the ship, but we can still use our phasers. I can still fire or whatever because we've got this. I don't know, we'll see. And improved impulse drive. Again, not quite sure how we can use that in, you know, mechanically as far as the game's concerned, but narratively we can say it's more efficient or whatever. Okay, two more I rolled up for these were the, is it the idiocracies? I think it's the idiocracies. I'm sure that's the word. I'm not sure. I don't know. But just quirks of the ship, really. Now, one of them I rolled up the last time I played this. Pure coincidence. I do quite like it, though. But that's the second one. The first one I rolled up was one service duct always smells like strawberry. Now, in the game, it doesn't say strawberry, actually. It says something else. If I can... Let me see if I can find it. If I can... find the word smells. One Jeffries tube always smells like ozone. Now I found out a Jeffries tube is basically a service duct. Again, not being a Star Trek fan, I wasn't familiar. I looked it up. Yeah, and ozone, I thought, how about it sounds like a fruit, just like completely randomly. One of the days, no one knows why. There's not a, you know, there's no strawberries in there. No one sneaks up there to eat strawberries. It's just a really weird quirk of the ship. That particular duct always smells like strawberries. And the second one, yeah, I do quite like this one. One of the secondary bridge stations has a control panel that blinks for a few seconds when shields are activated. So when we do raise our shields, if the secondary bridge station's being used, it'll blank out. That could be quite useful to use in-game if we're ever in a situation where something has to go wrong and maybe it blinks out for longer than normal. And hang on a minute, we've lost this. You know, we've lost our screens, we've lost this, you know, I'll come back in a second, and it doesn't. I don't know, whatever, but we might better use that one. I do quite like that. Okay, back to our assets then. So because I rolled up, advanced shields, I took the shields module from Ironsworn Starforged. Now, I don't usually use modules when I play Starforged, so it's going to be interesting to me. Basically, it gives us a little bit of a boost when we're under attack or in some sort of battle. So when we raise our shields, roll plus your vehicle's integrity, which is this one here, it always starts on 5. So roll plus that as opposed to rolling one of our other stats. And so we roll plus our integrity or wits. Now we're not using wits, so I'll always just roll on the integrity. On a strong hit, I suppose I could use security instead of wits. I'm just thinking of something else that would work with raising shields or sort of battle warfare, so probably security. But anyway, on a strong hit, we set our shields to 4. On a weak hit, make them 3. On a miss, make them 2, but lose momentum. So if we ever get fired at, if our ship ever loses health, we can withstand that damage. There's a move called withstand damage. And if we do that using this asset, we can ignore the damage up to the value of our shields. And then the shields would have to go down 1. Raised shields last for a few minutes. If reduced to 0, they cannot be raised again for an hour or so. Now, there's no time mechanic in either of these games, I don't think. But, you know, let's use our initiative. If I raise the shields and they go to 0, I'm not going to be able to raise them again straight away. I've also got the crew commander asset. Now this is actually from the Starforged expansion Sundered Isles, which is a seafaring kind of pirate kind of game. But this particular asset can be used in both games, and I thought, seeing as I am a crew commander, good asset to kind of use narratively. I don't know how it's going to work mechanically. We basically have 2 command. Our max is 4. When you or an ally make a move leading or aided by the crew, you may, after rolling, suffer -1 command to improve a miss to a weak hit or a weak hit to a strong hit. That could be useful. So if ever we get a miss and it's like, I really didn't need a miss there, we can actually take one of these command off and turn that into a weak hit, or we can turn a weak hit into a strong hit. And when we pay the price, we may suffer the cost as -1 command, as opposed to a bigger pay the price. If we get to 0 command, this asset counts as an impact. I'm not quite sure what that means yet. I guess I lose the asset for a bit until I recover. I don't know. To bolster your crew, provide a notable reward or respite, roll +heart. Obviously, we won't be rolling heart. We'll choose a different stat. On a strong hit, take 4 command. On a weak hit, take +2. On a miss, take +2, but envision a threat to your crew or leadership. So if I recruit more crew members, not sure how that would work out in Star Trek, but maybe we can weave it in somehow. Or if we just rest up, basically, or take a notable reward. Now, in Ironsworn Sundered Isles, that usually means taking a treasure, taking a ship. We won't be doing that because we're not pirates, but we may find rewards. We may find valuable artifacts. We could theoretically call a prize. But yeah, we'll see. We'll get to use that asset. And I've also got the Explorer asset because we are explorers, and I thought good asset to use for a Star Trek game. When we explore a waypoint, we can take 1 momentum on a hit, so that's a weak or a strong hit. And when we finish an expedition and score a hit, we can mark 1 extra tick on your Discovery's Legacy track. Now, the Discovery's Legacy track, this is a Starforged thing, or it's an Ironsworn thing. When we complete quests or we make bonds, probably won't be doing many bonds in this game. It's basically when you befriend people and you develop the relationship to higher levels, or when we make discoveries. We put ticks in here, and when we get to, I think it's when we get to 10 boxes, we can then upgrade these assets. And we can get the second, so we can upgrade our ship and get the second benefit there, or we can upgrade the shields and get the second benefit there, or whatever. Or we can actually also get new assets. So we'll see how that kind of works out. I don't want to become overpowered or anything like that, but if it works narratively, in fact, that's what Ironsworn is all about, really. It's about the narrative. I'm not just going to take an asset that, oh yeah, that would be really useful. It's got to work for the story. It's got to be realistic. I'm not going to take an asset that allows me to be good at dancing. Don't think there is an asset for that, but you get the point. It's got to be kind of realistic to the story we're telling. Okay, so first thing I want to do is what I did with one of the test games I did, which worked out quite well, was I rolled up an encounter before I rolled up a mission. In fact, I don't think I even rolled up a mission. I used the mission tables for a little bit of help and a little bit of inspiration, but what I did first was roll up this table. Now, what I've got here is a little table with I've adapted, it's a table from Ironsworn Starforged, an encounters table. I've adapted it slightly just to make it a little bit more, I want more opportunity to find starships, or to come across planets, or to come across settlements and abandoned, and well, there's not actually much scope for finding one of those. But I find with this, although I haven't watched much Star Trek, the Star Trek I have watched, they always seem to start an episode either next to a star or a planet or a ship, or there's already another species that they're meeting. You know, you don't see them actually meet, but you see they're already conversing with this new species. So I wanted more chance. In the original table, there's not many, You don't get many of these ones, but you tend to get lots of these ones. And I don't just want to keep coming across meteorite storms, and nebulas every time. I don't know if that makes a very good episode, really, or a very good adventure. It's great for world building. It's great if you're on an expedition and you just come across things that you're exploring. Great, but for this purpose, let's roll one of those up now. Now, I do have this dice roller. This is a really good. I really like this this dice roller. Actually, I've got it on my mobile phone, but I've also got the Windows version now as well. So we've got 3 different types. We've got our D20, which I'll be using when I roll up things from the Captain's Logbook. I've got our D100, which will be from the Starforge book, and we've got our the dice that we'll be using to roll moves. So we've got our 2 challenge dice in blue and our action die in red. So first of all, then let's roll up something on that table. Let's get the table back actually, and then we can look at that. So what do we get? We rolled up a 42, which is a starship. So that's a perfect start. So we are going to start our first adventure. We've found a starship. And bearing in mind, we only know a couple of species so far. We don't... Actually, I'm not going to say whether we recognise this starship or not yet, because I don't know. Let's ask the Oracle. Let's see. I'm going to leave this episode there. That was episode 0 again. Hopefully this time round it'll be a little bit better. I'll have more of a grasp on what to do, what to roll on, and how to actually build an adventure and a story. So the next episode, episode 1, will start with the question, this ship that we've come across, do we already know them? Are we already acquainted with their species? I'm hoping we don't, because then that might give us a little bit of a good starting point. If we do already know them, I might roll up the mission on the mission table and see, maybe we can get a mission here. We'll see, we'll have a look. But I hope you've enjoyed this one. Please give a like and subscribe if you have. It really helps me out. And take care of yourselves, everybody. I'll see you all again soon. Goodbye.